Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, I wanted to really ask the question, what's next for the New York Jets? Where do we go from here? Because it just seems like the sky's falling. We got a negative storyline there. We got a negative headline there. Obviously, we're watching this team on the field, and the results, the production is simply not there. 7-8 on the season, not a bad record, right? Just one game below 500. To me, looking at where this Jets team was a year ago, 7-8, not that bad. To be honest with you, that's just my take. But when we start factoring in where the Jets came from this season, right, in the earlier parts, understanding that the Jets were 6-3 at one point. They're on a 4-game losing streak, albeit in December, when the games are at the most critical. When you need these wins, the Jets are 0-4. Vikings, Bills, Lions, Jaguars, all losses. For different reasons, right? Some losses are right down to the wire, and then others are like, yesterday against the Jaguars, just brutal. Yesterday was brutal from start to finish. But it's not just the 4 straight losses, it's understanding that the Jets have lost 5 out of their last 6 games, and it just seems like the wheels are starting to fall off the wagon. And even in press conferences, you can just pick up the bad vibes, just the strange energy watching, right? I'm not even there. I'm literally watching videos on their website, and it just feels odd. Saleh actually was asked a question surrounding the quarterback position in regards to why the Jets offense looks so much better with everybody but Zach Wilson at the helm. Joe Flacco, Josh Johnson, Mike White, Chris Streveler. It just seems like the offense moves consistently more with everybody else outside of Wilson. And, now we start mounting the injuries on top of that. The Breece Hall, the Becton, the AVT stuff aside, we're looking at the stuff in the middle of the season, right? Guys that are getting banged up week after week after week. Thankfully, Quinnen didn't get seriously hurt. It was just a calf. Jeff Smith went down last week. Denzel Mims is banged up. It's just injury here, injury there. Again, it just seems like the season is falling apart, like the sky's falling. Where do the Jets go from here? I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. For me, I'm really focusing on 3 things. Number 1, they got to get Mike White back. I know the Jets have no control over that as far as, his ribs actually healing. The speculation is that he should be good to go. Next game's in 10 days against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. And by the way, the Jets are still not, at this point in time, the Jets are still not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So I know it's bleak. I know the Jets have a really slim chance. I know they don't look like a playoff team, when we start looking at their performances the last couple of weeks. But there's still a chance. And I do think that's relevant. It's important to talk about, bring that point up. But step number 1, you got to get Mike White back in this lineup. Okay, Zach Wilson to me just looks raw. He just looks raw. He looks like he needs more time. We know the physical traits. It's been beaten to death at this point with the arm strength, with the mobility, with the quick release. We know that Zach Wilson has that crazy playmaking, Johnny Manziel ability, right? Where he just can make defenders look stupid, just eluding guys in open space, extending plays, hucking the ball down the field and somebody coming down with it. But you can't build an offense with the thought of, hey, in a 3rd and 18 and a 4th and 18, that's when Zach Wilson is at his best. No, we need the quarterback position in this style of offense, a rhythmic based offense here, to get the ball out in a timely manner, to throw catchable footballs, accurate footballs, and be able to process what the defense is trying to do and go through your reads effectively. And that's what Mike White has shown. I'm not saying Mike White is top 5, top 10, top 15 in the NFL. All I'm saying is with Mike White at the helm, it just seems like the players, the coaches rally behind him, his toughness, and the Jets offense moves more effectively. They move more effectively, and I feel like that's really what every Jet fan wants at the end of the day. More first downs, more time of possession, more points, more touchdowns. So that's step number 1. Get Mike White right? Get him back in the lineup. Number 2, I think I'm shutting Zach Wilson down for the rest of the season. There's only 2 more games left to be played. Again, Mike White should be back for that Seahawks game, but we have Strevler, we have Flacco. I think right now I'm looking at Zach Wilson, the problems mechanically, the problems with decision making. We just referenced it. He just looks too raw to be out there. And the reality is, and this is the world that the Jets organization, that the Jets coaching staff has got to live in here. The reality is he doesn't look ready to play. And it's unfortunate. He was the 2nd overall pick, but that's the reality. I mean, we watched Trevor Lawrence yesterday. He's been on fire the last 6 games. We can now say 7. I mean, he ran circles around the Jets last night. He was hurting them through the air, hurting them on the ground. And let's be honest, it's not like Jacksonville has, a top 5 offensive this humongous arsenal of weapons on the offensive side of the football. I hate to compare the 2 quarterbacks here, but at the end of the day, I do feel like Zach just, he just looks like the same quarterback that suited up against the Carolina Panthers week 1 of last year. That's what it looks like to me. And I don't see a situation where they roll Zach Wilson out there next week, whether it's in a starting role, a backup role, and he goes out there and all the mechanics are fixed and from start to finish, he's making great decisions with the football, and he's taking these crazy, leaps and bounds forward in 10 days. I just don't think that's realistic. Same with the final week of the season down in Miami. These are 2 really good football teams. Let's just get back to the original plan of putting Wilson on the bench, dealing in reality here and understanding he's not ready to go. He's not really helping this football team. What's the best decision for the team? What's the best decision for Zach? It's for him to not play and just focus on getting right. That's the only thing that the Jets can do right now that's in their control. Of course, they could cross their fingers and hope Zach Wilson just turns a new leaf overnight and looks amazing, but it's just, it's unrealistic to say something like that. So, number 1, get Mike White back. Get him back on this roster. Number 2, I'm shutting Zach Wilson down for the rest of the season for the betterment of himself and the team. I'm not saying I'm cutting him. I'm not saying I'm getting rid of him in the offseason, trading him away or anything like that. But for these next 2 games, I'm just making him inactive. Number 3, finish strong. Finish strong. Of course, you can make the argument, hey man, it's too little too late. The Jets had their chance against Minnesota, against Buffalo, against Detroit, against Jacksonville. They didn't do it. Too many penalties, too many dropped passes, too many poor decisions with the football, too many bad play calls, offensive line getting ripped apart in back-to-back weeks against Detroit and Jacksonville. The Jets had their chance and they blew it. But in these final 2 weeks, again, Seattle, Miami, 2 very good football teams. And, we referenced it before, the Jets are still mathematically alive in the playoffs, in the playoff race, excuse me. If I'm New York and if I'm Saleh, I am playing, I'm coaching this football team. I'm playing for this football team like the world ends tomorrow. That's how this team has got to look these following 2 weeks. If they quit, if they're getting blown out against Seattle, against Miami, I think that'll be shocking, because Saleh, the players coach here, everybody's bought in. I don't want this really young group to throw their hands up, throw up the white flag and say, season's over. Season's done. I want this team to play hard. I really, really do. I want us to show something down the stretch. So those are my 3 bullet points. I would love to hear yours down below in the comment section. It's just a tough situation, man. It's a tough pill to swallow. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.